Well, welcome on the live show. This is your host, Adnan Maqsood. Excited to come on this live broadcast. And all we've been waiting for this moment for the author of the best-selling New York Times best-selling author Jonathan Cahn. The Avatar book is released now. It's been now months, but it has gone into a marketing and a marketplace to be proven to be an other best-selling book from Jonathan Cahn. And here I got the copy of this book. This is an explosive book. I'm telling you, the Avatar contains the revelation so stunning and so shocking that they cannot be revealed outside of the pages. So in this book, we're going to be dealing with who are the avatars, who is the avatar, and etc. And today I have the man himself on this broadcast with me to talk about his best-selling book, The Avatar. So we're gonna first of all run the promo, and after that, I will bring Jonathan Cahn for further discussion on this book. So here is the promo.
Is there more to our world than meets our eyes? Is ancient mythology colliding with our present reality? New York Times bestselling author Jonathan Cahn now releases The Avatar, The Return of the Ancients, and the Future of America. Who are the avatars, and what do they have to do with what's happening in America? Discover the mystery of the Avatar and what it means for the future and what you need to know. The Avatar by Jonathan Cahn, the book you can't afford not to read.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it for you to watch this trailer. But without any further ado, Jonathan Cahn is with us on this broadcast.
Great to be with you. Great to be back, Adnan.
Absolutely. Jonathan, you've written this and yet another New York Times best-selling book. Tell me about this book and what is mystery hold in this book?
Yeah, this is The Avatar is probably, I mean, I've written explosive books, but The Avatar is probably the most explosive because it's taking these mysteries, as in like the Return of the Gods, other ones that I've done, and bringing it into really not only the culture, but the political realm, what we are watching. It's kind of pulling away the veil behind everything and what the news, everything, that there's a whole another dimension, which the Bible speaks about. There's a spiritual dimension, there's a prophetic dimension. They're mysteries. It's going to be revealing things like ancient mysteries that will reveal who will be on the national stage, who will come and go, how long each person will have on the national stage, the mystery of Donald Trump, even something from his birth, the whole subject of the avatars. What does it have to do with what's happening now? Could there be actually avatars in the world? And I know we'll get into what that means. And so it has got to be the most explosive for that reason. And also the prophetic moment that we're in right now. And where are we going? What does the future hold?
Absolutely. And now it brings me to my very first question. Who are the avatars?
Okay. Well, avatar, the word avatar, for those who don't know, this is, it's not most people know it from the movie or from a video game, but the avatar is from the Eastern world, from India. And it speaks of someone who is connected to the gods or the spirits. Could be as a representative of the gods, or a image, or a manifestation of it. And so the thing is that the question is going to be, could there actually be avatars in the world? And now we're talking about the West. And one thing in the Avatar I open up that I never did before is that, I've spoken about the gods or the principalities, spirits, but I've never shared my encounters with them. And that's how it starts out in these other lands where they believe in avatars. But then it's ultimately going to come to America and to where we are right now.
Absolutely. And now the next question, I want to also encourage people. First of all, I put the link below, the Amazon link. You can buy this book on Amazon, The Avatar. And I tell you that I read this book. This book is absolutely is explosive book. You won't find anywhere else the information that is concealed in this book. That's why I encourage our audience on Vision Television Network, make sure you get a hold of this book. Who is the avatar, and what does it have to do with what is happening now in America and in the world?
Well, let me start with, we were actually, you and I were just talking before, and to set the stage, for people who don't know at all, behind the gods that were worshipped in the world, the Bible says there actually are principalities. And principalities meaning spirits. The word in Hebrew, in the Hebrew Bible, they calls them the shedim, which are entities. It was translated into Greek in the New Testament. It became the word daimonia. We get the word demon or demonic from it. So the Bible's saying that behind the gods there are principalities and dark principalities. Well, I've spoken about them, but I've never shared my encounters. When I was asked to go to India, and I was asked to walk in the footsteps of the Apostle Thomas, who by tradition gave the gospel to India and Jewish believers. So I was asked to go as a Jewish believer and walk up the mountain that he walked up. I mean, go trace his whole journey, go up the mountain where by tradition he was killed by Hindu radicals, and go up there and hopefully not get killed. It was the most actually warfare that I've never seen the power of God and the power of the enemy at war as I did in India. And so much so, by the second day, we were almost killed. And then at the end, I'm standing in front of a massive crowd of Indians, and I decide, it's at night, outside, before I share, let me sound the shofar, the trumpet, the biblical trumpet, and a sign of God's power. And I do, and all of a sudden, this whole wave comes back at us. We couldn't even make sense of it. It was like if you can imagine an exorcism, but multiplied by thousands of people. It was like a mass exorcism. People screaming like blood curdling, as if spirits were departed. And in the Bible, God says, when you sound the shofar, the enemy in war is gonna flee. If you're in war, you sound the trumpet, the enemy will flee. Well, it has actually been for ages that Jewish people have been sounding the shofar, even when they're doing exorcisms in ancient times. Well, the people in India are not reading that, but they heard the sound of what is a sign of God's power, and it was like a mass exorcism. And I saw how real this thing is, and I've seen this not only in India, in every land where they worship gods. I see the same phenomenon. I was asked to go to Cuba when Fidel Castro opened up the island, and other places. I've seen the same phenomenon. These things are real.
Absolutely. And to test it, when I read this in this book, so I went on a YouTube and I searched it. And then I found your video where you were blowing the shofar. I could just hear the screaming, the squealing of the demons manifesting. I thought it was powerful. Jonathan, that was absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. So the next question is, how did this mystery manifest at the last Olympics?
Well, there's a principle, Adnan, there's a mystery here, that Jesus spoke about the man who was delivered of a demon, and he ends up, though, being empty of God, and so he's empty, but so the demonic spirit comes back and brings 7 other spirits, and the man gets repossessed, and Jesus said, so it will be with this generation. And people think about, well, it's just talking about a guy. No, you see, when the gospel came into the world, into the West, it delivered, it cast out the gods or the spirits, and so the warning is that any nation or civilization or culture that has known God, been delivered of these things, if it should ever empty itself of God, these spirits are what was cast out of it. It's going to come back into it. If you want to understand what's happening in America and the West, it is exactly that. We thought we could empty God out of the culture. Well, the house that gets empty of God is not going to stay empty. What was cast out is coming in. So we're watching in America and the West a kind of repossession, a paganization of a Christian civilization. Now, the Olympics, the last Olympics opened up, and they had this picture, this opening ceremony of the Last Supper, but instead of the apostles or disciples, you had men dressed up as women gyrating around the table, and instead of the elements of the wine and the bread representing Jesus, they had a platter, and they uncover it, and it's an ancient pagan god, a guy dressed up as it, named Dionysus. And it was really prophetic, because what's been happening in the West is the West has been casting out Jesus. And so what it's saying is that other spirits come in, and this one was Dionysus. When the gospel came in, the name of Jesus cast out Dionysus, but now they were casting out Jesus, replacing him with Dionysus. And there was a guy who did this, who actually is a warning, because he did this in his own life. And his name was Friedrich Nietzsche, German philosopher, and he's the one who wrote God is Dead, and he wrote these books. You got to get rid of Christianity, get rid of all of God and all, and he did that. But he also venerated this ancient god Dionysus, and it said that Dionysus would possess his worshipers, and he would drive them insane. Well, Nietzsche goes insane, and at the end he's signing his name. Instead of signing it as Nietzsche, he signs it as Dionysus, as if he was totally taken over. And the thing is, his writings went on. And one of the people who picked up Nietzsche's writings was a guy named Adolf Hitler. And the Nazis, they made him their philosopher. And what happened was a demonic, explosion on the world. So that tells you how dangerous it is to actually empty a culture of God.
Makes perfect sense. Wow. That's a great mystery that you unfold. But now I'm curious, even for myself, and as for our audience, you write of a mystery of kings, how
Yes.
an ancient biblical template is behind modern American leaders, and how long each will remain on the national
Yeah.
stage. Tell us.
Yeah. This is one of the mysteries that I open up in the Avatar, that it's amazing. From the Bible, there's an ancient template. And what it is that behind, and it's not that it's prophesying, it's just that God uses patterns and templates. But the amazing thing is that behind each major American leader in the last period of time, behind each one is a king or a queen that is the mystery or prototype of that leader. From Bill Clinton to Barack Obama, from Hillary Clinton, even Osama bin Laden is in there, ancient template, to Joe Biden, to Donald Trump. And it's amazing. It keeps unfolding. It actually not only reveals the person, it reveals their personality, reveals the acts or the events or what they're going to do. It reveals how long each will have on the national political stage. And it actually, in some cases, gives exact dates. For instance, it gives the dates of an attack on America, and the date it gives was September 11th. I mean, before it happened, September 11th. And actually, 9/11, it gives the exact hour it was going to begin. And so this mystery, I mean, I can give you a little taste of it. I mean, everybody from Bill Clinton onward, but I can give you a taste of Joe Biden and into Donald Trump. If you want me to, I can give you a taste of that.
Absolutely. I mean, that was my next questions. I was going right into that. The Donald Trump mystery, and being the Jehu, and also Joe Biden. So
Yeah.
just tell us
Yeah.
about this.
Yeah, well, even this is just to give a taste, because it's virtually every major leader. Biden, okay. In the template is a king named Jehoram, ancient king. He's the mystery of Biden. Jehoram was a weak king. He kind of went against the ways of God, even though he knew better. And in his reign, the big problem was border crossings. People infiltrating the land, unchecked border, foreigners and coming in. Well, Joe Biden. At the beginning of Jehoram's reign, he oversees a disastrous military pullout from where he was occupying a people. Well, that was called Edom. In Biden's case, it was called Afghanistan. During the reign of King Jehoram, Israel, the land of Israel, is invaded by enemies. Well, it happened on October 7th when Biden was there. And that invasion in the time of King Jehoram begins in what is now called the Gaza Strip. As of October 7th. They invade Israel. They go into the houses, I'm talking about in the Bible, they take the Israelis captive back to Gaza. Well, the whole thing's replaying. In the last part of Jehoram's reign, the big issue was that Jehoram became physically incapacitated. I mean, just like Biden. At the end of his reign, Jehoram has one son left as his youngest son. His name is Ahaziah. Biden has one son left, his youngest son, whose name is Hunter Biden. Well, Ahaziah, the name Ahaziah comes from the Hebrew Ahaz, which means to seize. Well, when to seize is translated into Old German, it becomes the word Hentin, connected to the name Hunter, as in Hunter Biden. I mean, you can't make this up. And the thing is, this is going to lead to the mystery of Donald Trump.
Wow, that is fantastic. Wow, I wouldn't have thought that in a million years, and that's absolutely a revelation that God given you. So, what happened to Jehoram in the last part of his reign?
Oh well, he becomes incapacitated, and what also happens is that by the remember when Biden bowed out finally, his own people. I mean, the Democratic Party was actually relieved. And it says interesting in the scripture about Jehoram's leaving. It says he departed to no one's sorrow. I mean, in the same way. So it was like a weak king becomes incapacitated. I mean, goes against the ways of God, becomes incapacitated. And then at the end, nobody's really sorry to see. Well, that's exactly what happened with Biden. And let me go in. I'm going to open up a little bit of the mystery of Donald Trump, because that's happening right now. Okay. The mystery behind Donald Trump is the man in the Bible called Jehu. Jehu was not a politician. He was a fighter, a warrior. Jehu was wild, unpredictable. You never knew what he was going to say next or do next. Donald Trump. Remember how Donald Trump began his political race? He was on top of that staircase. He came down the staircase, began the race. Well, I didn't even know this. I mean, until recently, I'm looking at it and say, Jehu begins on top of the staircase, comes down the staircase, begins a race to the throne. Jehu makes an alliance with the religious conservatives. Donald Trump does the same thing. Jehu has an agenda to go to the capital city and drain the swamp. Donald Trump. Jehu, in order to come to power, has to contend against the nation's former first lady. And so Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, with Israel, she was called Jezebel. And the thing is that now Hillary Clinton was on the national stage with her husband, Bill, the political stage, for 22 years. And then after that, she was in an office, and then she ran for president. Total it up, it comes to 14 years. So 22 years, 14 years. Jezebel was on the national stage with her husband, Ahab, for 22 years, on her own, 14 years, until she's defeated by Jehu. And it's amazing, and then this mystery really, it gives the outcome of each election. I mean, I'll give you an example. The template of Jehu is that Jehu, first he comes against the nation's ruler, the leader, the king, and then the leader kind of gets replaced by this woman with an ungodly agenda. Well, in 2016, it was the template of Jehu. First, Trump was coming against Obama, then it becomes Hillary Clinton, and he prevails. Well, so he wins. In 2020, though, it wasn't the template of Jehu. Donald Trump was the king, and he didn't prevail. In 2024, the template of Jehu resurrects. Again, he comes against the king or Biden. He defeats him at that debate. And then a woman comes, just according to the template, with an ungodly agenda or an anti-biblical agenda, and he defeats her, Kamala Harris. So that tells you why he wins or doesn't. And then again, and it even gives the timing of his presidency, because, well, actually, you know what? Let me hold off on that. It gives how much time he'll have on the national stage, but we can hold off on that for a little bit.
Absolutely. So I want to encourage people, those who are coming on, get a hold of this book, the best book. I'm telling you, the last month, Jonathan, I read of your book, The Return of Gods, and I went all across the Australian revival tour, and I found myself using a lot of the things that it made sense, the revival wise and all, wise. And I'm telling you, churches, get a hold of this book. I'm telling you, pastors, the things that you don't know, the mystery, God will reveal it to you through this book. So you can get this book either an Audible, on Amazon, or on Amazon or Jonathan Book. Beth is the website. You can also check out the Beth Israel. So that's going to be everywhere. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's literally everywhere. Yeah,
I guess. Or walk into Barnes and Noble, so you can get it there as well. So I'm dying to know this question, and this is a very important one. What is the mystery of Ahaziah?
Well, okay. Ahaziah is that son of Jehoram that his name matches with Hunter. But let me give you a little bit more on that. Let me also give you a little bit more with Jehu. Let me tell you, when Jehu came to power, you know what he did? He starts purging the government. What has Donald Trump been doing? Purging the government.
Purging the government.
Jehu, he disrupts things, he dismantles things. He pulls down a house, he pulled down the Temple of Baal. Interesting, I'm just doing this for the first time today. That interesting because even Trump, that they came against him because he pulled down the East Wing. But that's Jehu. That's what Jehu does. But he dismantles actually government. That was used against God. But let me get to a mystery of the assassination here. I'm just a quick thing with Trump. When that thing happened in Butler, it was a miracle that he moved, but to a fraction of an inch, fraction of a second. Well, there's a deeper miracle or deeper mystery, because in the ancient priesthood of Israel, when God was going to anoint somebody or use somebody for his purposes, there was a certain ritual they had to go through, or a consecration. And the priest, it involved blood. The person who's going to be used of God, blood has to touch their ear. So what happens in Butler? It touches his ear. According to the mystery, it's got to touch his right ear. Touches his right ear. It's got to touch the tip of the right ear. Touch the tip of the right ear. Then it's got to touch his hand. Well, first thing Trump does is he raises his hand, the blood touches the hand, and it has to be the right hand. It's his right hand. It has to be the thumb. It's his thumb. Then it's got to involve, then the shoes of the person being anointed have to be removed from his feet. Well, then Trump gets pushed down by the Secret Service. His shoes are removed from his feet, literally. And according to the mystery, and you have 7 days. It's a 7-day thing. And so from the moment the blood touches the right ear, up to the seventh day, the man being anointed receives the vestments of the office he's going to serve in as priest. Well, if you count 7 biblical days, you see, every day, Hebrew day begins at sundown to sundown. So you got Saturday when it happened, then Sunday, sundown to sundown. The seventh day begins Thursday night, July 18th. Anything happened? Thursday night, July 18th, Trump is standing in front of the world with a patch on his ear. He's given the nomination to become president of the United States. And so this, it's amazing. You cannot make this up. And this is all unfolding. We're in a biblical mystery, Adnan. And there's even a more explosive one. If you want to try to get it in, I can try to do it.
Absolutely. So I wanted to know, did an ancient mystery foretell the exact days of Trump's presidency?
Yeah. Well, it does. Or at least what's given to him, because each person. This mystery is saying each one and what the future holds. Well, the key is, when did he come? When did he first come onto the political or national political or presidential stage? Well, with Trump, he's always been around, so it's kind of hard. But people would say 2015 or 16. No, people don't know this. Trump actually was a candidate for president in the year 2000. It was the Reform Party. It was called Trump 2000. He actually won the California primary. People don't know this. And he pulled out. Well, that's the beginning of the span. Well, the last year that's appointed for him, the full year, is the year 2028. Okay. So from 2028 is 28 years. Open up the Bible. It says Jehu was on the national stage, political stage, for 28 years. Now, whether Trump is going to try something, we'll see, but that's what's appointed for him. Now, do you want to go even more explosive? Adnan, I don't hear you.
Okay, how about now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, sorry. For a moment, I got lost there. One of the most explosive mystery in the Avatar concerns the God Kings, the goddess, queen.
Yes.
And the avatar of the pagan world.
Yes.
What is that about?
Yeah, this is, in ancient times, they worship, their kings were seen as avatars of the gods. The pharaohs were seen as avatars of the Egyptian gods, kings of Babylon, of the Babylonian gods. Could we be at a stage where in turning away from God, we almost came to the point of having an avatar, in a sense, rule over America? Because the spirits are that if they can rule the ruler, you can rule the nation. Well, here's the thing. The word avatar comes from India, as we said. And in India, they believe that there's one family, one line, one lineage that particularly produces avatars. And that's the line of Brahmin. Well, from the line of Brahmin was born a person. We know her as Kamala Harris. The avatar has to be connected to a particular god or goddess. The reason why she's named Kamala is because Kamala is the name of an ancient pagan goddess. So she's named after the goddess. And if you missed that, her middle name is Devi, which literally means the goddess. So it's called Kamala the goddess. Now, we won't have time to go through it, but in the book I open up, and her whole life is following the mystery of this goddess. And the thing is, this goddess was the number 2 ruler, number 2 ruler. And this goddess is also linked to the laughing goddess. Kamala was always laughing, the whole thing. But the thing is, there's a day in the Hindu calendar called where they worship the goddess Kamala. It's called Sharad Purnima. Well, on the day when they were worshiping Kamala, the goddess, Kamala, the woman, was born into the world on the day of the goddess Kamala. And in fact, they believe that the goddess Kamala comes into the world on that day. And it's considered the birthday of Kamala, the goddess. So, I mean, you cannot make this up. And it's not that she knows it, and we got to pray for all people. We have no enemies. But the other thing is that the sign of the avatar is we are to be one nation under God. We were almost one nation under one called the goddess. And there's even a mystery to the birth of Donald Trump. He was born on a particular day when there's a particular scripture that is actually announced all over the world that is part of the mystery of Donald Trump. I don't know if we'll have time to get into it, but amazing stuff. And we're also at an amazing critical time right now.
100%. Wow, that's amazing. I would love to know more, but I want to, that's why I'm going to encourage people. This book has all the details. And Jonathan, I really love the layout of this book. It's very easy to read. And it's the way there's so many chapters, and those chapters are not like forever chapters. You're getting down to the point kind of a deal. So that's what I love about this book. And I want to talk about one of the chapters in the avatar is called The Image. What does it mean? What does it reveal?
Okay. Well, in ancient times, they made images of the avatar or the king, the pharaoh, the one, and they would merge the face of the man or woman with the body of the god or goddess. Well, could that happen today? Well, actually, an image appeared in America, not on a stone wall like in Egypt, but on the internet. It was put up by Kamala Harris's own family. And what it was is they took the image of Kamala, her face, and they merged it with an ancient Hindu goddess. I mean, so literally a picture of the avatar that her own family put up.
Okay, that is amazing. So I want to ask this is a question outsiders is gonna be, but it's gonna be since Charlie had passed away, you and I haven't spoken.
Yes.
And I wanted to know what's the mystery of Charlie Kirk? What is your analysis on that?
You know what? And it's amazing you asked that, because first of all, the avatar came out at the end of that week, Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And there's a mystery behind it that is everything to do with the mystery that's in the avatar. In fact, there were witches involved who actually it came on the internet like 2 days before that actually they placed curses on Charlie Kirk. Now they don't have power except God allows it. But the point is that there is another force here. And the thing is so they actually put that on there. There's a chapter in the book called The Witches, and it actually also links to the assassination attempt. So this was, it was like Jehu and what Trump has been a rolling back of the agenda of these principalities, these gods, these spirits. What happened to Charlie Kirk, it was like the dark side that had been rolled back was striking back. And it struck back at a key person, who's involved in this spiritual war. So this is saying that right now, this is a battle for the future of America. And there's very strong forces here. God, we've got to, and this goes back to where we are. We have a window of time right now. God's given us a window. And the thing is, we may not have that again as we do right now in America. And the thing is, we got to go full blast because the only thing that can save America is revival. If we change the government, but we don't change the people's hearts, the unchanged hearts are going to change the government back. So we got to pray for revival as never before, work for revival, and actually choose to live in revival. That revival will come. But God has given us a chance, each of us. Let's choose to live in revival and let's pray for it to come.
Absolutely. I want to encourage our audience, get a hold of this book. And this book will change your life, change your perspective, and also will alert you. You don't have to tune into CNN to find what's happening in the world. If you just tune into the book, I'm telling you, you will, the prophecies and the mysteries that unfolded in this book, it's phenomenal. But this is the last question for you, Jonathan.
Okay.
Where does America stand with regards to the future? What the warning and what is the hope for
We're
America?
hanging in the balance. And Jehu, and listen, the answer is not a person. Jehu was a mix and Donald Trump's a mix and all that, but he's used of God. And the thing is but we don't know, Jehu was God giving the chance for the nation to have revival. It was like opening a window. The answer wasn't Jehu. The answer wasn't even the window. It's revival. But we don't know that there was revival back then. And after Jehu was gone, the nation resumed its fall. So that's the warning. But the thing is that it's a big thing. God said, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves, pray, seek my face, turn from their evil ways, I'll hear from heaven, I'll forgive their sin, I will heal their land. That's two things. My people, that's all of us right now. If, the other word is if, that's the big thing. Will we? So let's take God at his word and let's go full blast, because America's future is hanging in the balance, and it does not depend on a political person or realm. It depends on God and God's people. That's you and me.
100%. Well, thank you, Jonathan, so much that you're giving your time to come on this broadcast and talk about the Avatar. I know this is the book of the year for me, especially. I'm not just saying it, I mean it, because as soon as I got the copy of this book, I was reading it. I couldn't put it down. This book is so amazing. So I want to encourage our audience, those who are watching right now, make sure get a hold of this book. And this book is available on Barnes and Nobles, Amazon, Walmart, wherever you want to get a hold of this book. And also you can get a hold of from Jonathan. Either way, get a hold of this book. I'm telling you, this book is one of the explosives and one of the best book that Jonathan wrote. And this is a now book. It's not a book of the past, but it's a now book. You got